Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Tom Hanson, surname spelled Hanson. I'm the acting inspector responsible for the organized crime section of the Calgary Police Service. I'm here to discuss the Calgary Police Service charging one man after seizing cash and drugs, including a large number of counterfeit oxycodone pills. On Tuesday, February 18th, 2014, members of our Guns and Gangs unit concluded an investigation into an alleged drug distribution network. With the assistance of the RCMP, search warrants were conducted on a vehicle and residence in Chestermere. As a result of these warrants, officers seized approximately 9,600 80-milligram pills that were suspected to be counterfeit oxycodone, valued at approximately $768,000. Over $3,000 in cash was also seized. The pills were found in a hidden compartment of the vehicle. Samples of the pills were sent to Health Canada for examination, and we've since received confirmation that they contained fentanyl and caffeine. Brian Thomas Harrington, 29 of Chestermere, has been charged with possession of a controlled substance for the purpose of trafficking and possession of property obtained by crime. Counterfeit oxycodone pills containing fentanyl have become increasingly available in various Canadian communities. The presence of fentanyl in these pills increases the risk of overdose among people using them, particularly if they believe they are taking oxycodone. An alert released by the Canadian Community Epidemiology Network on Drug Use states that many of the counterfeit drugs found across Canada resemble oxycodone tablets. Some are green and stamped with CDN on one side and the number 80 on the other. This is a further reminder that people using illegally obtained drugs never know what they contain. There is no safe street drug and no safe dose of a street drug. There are absolutely no controls in any illegal drug production, and drugs are likely cut with various substances unknown to the user, which may lead to injury or death. Anyone with information on counterfeit oxycodone is asked to call the Calgary Police Drug Tip line at 403-428-8100 or Crime Stoppers anonymously. He was transporting the drugs, but it is often held out as being oxycodone by the traffickers.
And can we talk about what fentanyl is?
Fentanyl is a very, very potent version of an opiate. Similar, morphine is a version of an opiate. OxyContin is a type of opiate, and then fentanyl is a very extreme, potent version of that is used or prescribed by doctors. In cases of long-term terminal illnesses or extreme pain after surgery, stuff like that.
So fentanyl would be more dangerous even than oxycodone?
Well, certainly if it's abused, absolutely.
Is it cheaper? Why would they counterfeit with that? Is it cheaper than oxycodone?
Well, I think it's not necessarily cheaper, but it's certainly it's much more of an effect. It gives a very strong high, and I think that's something that they like to use to sell their product, and sometimes to develop a following through the addiction that they create.
Because they changed, oxycodone, oxycontin recently, like in the last couple of years. Is that why they're using fentanyl?
Well, I don't think that it's necessarily why they're using it. It's just another reason for them to create another street drug and hold it out as OxyContin, is because of the difficulty in synthesizing the newer version of it and making it usable at a street level.
Because if I was a drug addict, but say I would want fentanyl then because it's stronger, right? So why would you say that it's oxycodone? Like, I just want to explain why they're selling it as one thing when it is another. The other thing is more powerful.
It certainly is more powerful, but that's not necessarily what the people that are using it are necessarily going to want initially, right? They want the high that they're used to, and then if it's held out that way, and then they can obtain that high. And if it's a stronger high and much more addictive, then I think the traffickers can develop a stronger following.
Is this specific, the drugs that you seized, quite potent, quite strong?
It's fentanyl, so it's very potent, very strong.
And what about the caffeine? Is that a bad combination?
Well, it is a bad combination because it changes the effect of how it affects the body. So it changes the high. It's something that it's another reason that they can market their product.
Is this the entire seizure right here?
Yes.
Have you guys seen a lot of people using this drug or overdosing on this drug?
Well, we've seen some isolated incidents that we suspect are related to this in the last few months. We can't say for sure if it's related to this specific drug or this seizure here, or the people that are manufacturing this, but we have heard that the fentanyl-laced, the OxyContin that's held out with fentanyl in it is actually having some effects, and that there has been a couple incidents that we're aware of that have resulted in overdoses.
And deaths, or?
Well, that's a concern, but we haven't seen anything specifically related to that yet.
Is there any part of the seizure that does actually contain oxycodone ingredients? And if so, how much?
Well, it's fentanyl is an ingredient of OxyContin. It's a version of it, right? So it's just a more potent version of OxyContin, of like morphine. It's the type. It's an opiate, so the type of drug that it is just a more potent version of it.
And so is it being advertised as just regular oxycodone, but it's actually a more potent version, and people buying it are aware of its more potent effect?
I'm not sure how it's being held out. It's being presented in this version as OxyContin as opposed to fentanyl.
Like the pills are made to look like?
Correct.
Maybe can you explain that, because I think that's what we're all just wanting to know, why it's being called counterfeit as opposed to?
This isn't being manufactured by a legitimate pharmacy or a pharmaceutical manufacturing company. It's manufactured in this form by clandestine labs, and it's designed specifically to look like OxyContin when in fact it's fentanyl.
How do they get their hands on fentanyl? Is that an illegal activity as well?
I would imagine it is, yeah. I can't speak to how they're acquiring the ingredients to manufacture the fentanyl, but I do know that it's being manufactured in a clandestine lab as opposed to being stolen from pharmacies or from a pharmaceutical manufacturing company.
Do you know where this was manufactured? Like, do you think it was locally manufactured?
We don't believe so. We've been seeing warning notifications throughout North America as this being being an issue, and we have been aware of it in the last little while, but we're now seeing the significant quantities here in Calgary. But it has been known throughout North America for the last year or so.
How did you find that the people you said were hidden part of the vehicle?
That's correct.
And which part of the vehicle was it?
It was, I'm not going to say specifically where it was, different types of vehicles. It's not an uncommon way to transport illegal property or illegal drugs by using hidden compartments or setting them up in a vehicle. Different vehicles have different places that are best suited to install a hidden compartment. In this vehicle in particular, the hidden compartment was in the rear area of the vehicle, but that doesn't mean that that's where they are in all vehicles.
Did this come about? Is it just like a regular traffic stop, or was it
No, it
a
was,
summer operation? Or?
that's correct. It was the result of about an 8-month investigation by the Calgary Police Guns and Gangs Unit.
He's determined that he had the drugs in the vehicle. Were you able to determine whether or not he was manufacturing them at his place of residence? Were you able to go any further?
He was not the person responsible for manufacturing them.
So were there other people also under investigation as a part of this, or is he the?
Yes, he's part of a group that is being investigated.
Safe to say then that you're looking to possibly bring charges in relation to this?
That's correct.
Can you speak to the dollar figure, it's $760,000-ish? Is that fairly significant for a drug like this?
Well, it's the street value of the drug, so that is a very significant amount, yeah.
If people thought it was, if it was labeled as somebody told it was fentanyl, would it be a higher level? Like, if people thought it was different than what people thought it was, would it be considered higher?
Well, I don't know exactly how they're holding it out. The traffickers may use, whatever comments they need to make it a desirable drug for their clientele. I'm not sure how they're holding it out, but it is being manufactured and to resemble OxyContin.
Is it a tip that started the investigation?
I can't say.
And can you talk a bit about the Calgary connection? It looks like it was all done in Chestermere, so was the network operating in Calgary?
The groups that he's associated with were identified in the Calgary area and in and around Calgary.
And so the investigation's
Yes. Okay.
Anything else? Was, the Chestermere RCMP involved as well, or was it was just the sole, Calgary Police Service operation?
As far as the investigation was concerned, it was initiated by the Calgary Guns and Gangs Unit, and then when the this part of the investigation came to a conclusion, it was with the help of the Strathmore and Chestermere RCMP, and it was very much appreciated. They did an excellent job helping us out.
And was it a rural property, or was it sort of in the town of Chestermere? Just sort of, can you give us an idea of the danger involved, just the general public?
Well, it was a residential property right in the town of Chestermere. As far as the risk to the public was concerned, it was minimal. The lab itself wasn't located anywhere in Chestermere, and we're not familiar with any other issues that would arise from that location that would endanger the public.